In this episode, barbells and dumbbells, which one's better? Which one will get you swoller? Which one will get you sexier? Which one will get you a bigger butt? Which one's better for which exercise? We're going to talk all about it. And I'm going to drink my coffee. Where's my, this is old coffee. The fuck, man? Sheesh. Papa Swole's got to get a maid.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 641 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pumpcast, nipplecast, and swolecast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps, wave the highs. Oh, say the highs. Hello. Hello on Instagram. Oh, hello on Facebook. What's going on? It's Papa Swole-o. And we're here to get absolutely yoked like it ain't no joke from our head to our feet. Because today we're going to go balls deep. Knowledge fisting in the house. Or as the Spaniards say, en la casa. We are going huge today. So first off, I want to thank the Daily Swole sponsors, Everest and K2, flexing on you. Oh. Yes. Willkommen. Welcome, Lakes Up. Tiny Fury 55 on Instagram. So thank you for joining me. It is 12 noon Eastern time. So if you are watching live, if you're watching later, and if you are checking out the podcast, if you are assaulting your ear holes on SoundCloud or Apple Podcast, we are live right now. So this is Instagram and Facebook, both at Swolenormous. And remember, every episode is available as a podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. Just type in Swolenormous, type in Daily Swole, check out my Instagram story, check out my Snapchat. I hit everyone up when I drop the new podcast. That way, everyone can get jamming, especially during the week. You got to have your Daily Swole for your commutes. I can't have everyone driving an hour to and from work without some gains in the ear hole. So let's say what's up to the fam. Today's going to be a great episode. Did some polling on Instagram and Facebook yesterday. And I think that's also going to be something that I start doing a little bit more. I take a lot of polls because I get some feedback and we have some good interaction and conversation on Instagram and on Facebook, because Facebook has a polling feature as well. But just to get some community responses, to get some traction before the episode. So I wanted to talk today about barbell and dumbbell training. And I did a couple posts yesterday on specific exercises on Instagram and also just generalities on both platforms. Do you prefer barbell training or dumbbell training? So we'll get some good questions, a little more program design oriented for a Saturday. It is Saturday, right? I have to check a little bit. Saturday the 27th. It is Saturday. Confirmed. Payless Bayless, what's up? Live gains are the best gains. I think it's great live too. I'll do my best always to be live. I do think in the future, once there are some more guests and things like that on the Daily Swole, once we start doing some more interviews here, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to maintain the 12 noon Eastern time, but it could be a challenge. We'll have to see how that rolls. But you're always going to get a Daily Swole. It's going to be daily. That's the minimum. I think that's the most important thing, is that everyone wants their taste of gains. And, you know, if it's at a different time, then you just get, if you have your notifications turned on, right? If you got your notifications on, you're straight. You know when Papa Swole goes live. You know when we go live. So then you know what the dealio is. So let's get into the episode. Welcome. Thank you for saying hi. What's going on from Indiana? Enjoy your weekend, Goldilocks. I shall do so. I'm going to be hitting up, today is going to be a start of a new cycle for me in terms of training. I think today is going to be like a chest day or an upper body day. I did some yoga yesterday, reset a little bit. So now Papa Swole is back. I'm ready. What's up from Houston? Where are we hailing from? For Silverback. D-boy. All right. So let's get into some of the polling. Let's get into the polling. Sounds like some like Asian. Talking about some Chinese dude. Some polling that I did yesterday on Instagram and Facebook. So dumbbells and barbells. So right now, right now, what are your personal thoughts on barbell versus dumbbell training? Do you prefer doing dumbbells or do you prefer doing barbell training? So on Instagram, did the poll. I asked, which do you prefer? I asked, which do you prefer? And this is in the Instagram story. Barbell, 47% voted for barbell. 53% voted for dumbbell. This is overall on Instagram. This was the first question I asked, and then I asked a couple more specific ones. On Facebook, the same question. So on Instagram, it was 47% in favor of barbell and 53% in favor of dumbbell. So almost like an even split on Instagram. Facebook was a little bit more split. It was 24% barbell and 43% dumbbell, or 43 votes, 24-43. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't a percent. The Instagram was a percentage. I apologize. So 47% and 53% on Instagram, barbell, dumbbell, and 24 votes for barbell and 43 votes for dumbbell, which comes out to about, let's see, in favor of Facebook, that's about 60, 40, 70, 30, essentially, on Facebook. So a lot more percentage-wise in favor of dumbbell on Facebook as opposed to Instagram. So, it's more or less split. So bottom line, a lot of you are doing both. I think it's safe to say that everyone that is watching or listening is doing both at some point. Now, this wasn't to say that, are you doing all barbell? Are you doing all dumbbell? No, I just want to know what you prefer. Like, do you like in general barbell or dumbbell? So I asked a couple more leading polls on Instagram. I didn't do this on Facebook. I only did this on Instagram. And Instagram, I asked, which is your favorite for bench press? 54% liked barbell bench better. 58% liked barbell row, back row better. So still both in favor of barbell row. Now check this out. I thought this was interesting. I threw this in. I had a feeling it was going to go this way. But for squat, it was 87%. 87%. So by far the most glaring difference was for the actual squat exercise. 54% for bench for barbell, 58 for back row, and 87 for squat. And I don't really have any doubt that would have been the same for Facebook if I had done specifically for the squat. So everyone is pretty much in favor of a barbell squat as opposed to the other exercises. And my only assumption would be just the classic. It's hard to say if it's based on the stereotypical exercise, because bench press, you could say the same thing. You could say it's just stereotypical to do a barbell bench, but that was more split. That was 54-46. And for a back row, I'm actually impressed too that a lot of people prefer doing barbell. I figured more people would be doing dumbbells or prefer dumbbells, but it was more split. But the squat had the glaring difference. I think it's also because of the weight required for a squat. Most people, when you're doing a squat exercise, you're going to be doing 200 pounds. Not everyone's going to hold 100-pound dumbbells. If you're doing it at home, you're not going to have dumbbells that go that high. If you're at the gym, it's more efficient to overload your body with a heavier weight, and it's easier. It's easier. Most gyms, like if you're going to squat 300 pounds, you're not going to grab 150-pound dumbbells and do a squat. If you're doing 200-pound squats, you're not going to be doing 100-pound dumbbells in each hand. I think that's just generally why everyone will say that. But squat's also a very basic, standard barbell exercise. So that's just some interesting facts. And let's talk a little bit about the benefits to both of these things. So home gym. Let's start with the home gym concept and float some hearts and drop some comments below if you have a home gym. I think this is an interesting topic and we should blow this up a little bit more because many of you struggle with either paying for a gym membership, getting to a gym, you have obligations, you have children that are in the way, or a job and hours and scheduling that inhibits you from getting to a gym sometimes. So if you live in one of those small towns, you might not have a gym next door. You might not have an LA Fitness on every single street corner like there is here in Miami. So if your time is limited and your resources are limited, if you live in the countryside, you might not have access to a gym easily. So a home gym is often the best choice. Payless Bayless on Instagram, rep the home gym all the time. I'm a big fan. Let's see. I wish I didn't have to get. Yeah, drop some comments on Facebook too if you're home gym people. I know there's a lot of home gym peeps, so I wanted to rep all the home gym people out there. So some of the benefits of a home gym, and we'll get into the barbell dumbbell discussion in a second. So some of the benefits of a home gym is the fact that you can listen to whatever music you want, you can take your shirt off, you can wear whatever you want, you have access to it. It's just you and the weights, it's you and the machines or the dumbbells, whatever you have. Another benefit is you only pay for things once. Once you purchase a piece of equipment or a weight, you're the only one using it. It's in your care, your maintenance. You don't use it up, you have it forever. So a home gym is essentially a gym membership paid up front. It's paid in full. But you don't have to get everything all at once. You don't have to get all the machines. The beauty of a home gym is you don't need tons of equipment. You need specific types of equipment to make the most exercises that you can make the most versatile. You have a barbell, you have a bench or a rack, you're pretty much set. And the great thing about the industry now is the availability of all these different home racks and power racks that are designed for at home and for garages that fold up and that are easily accessible and that take up less space and they're very sturdy. So that's one of the benefits of the industry that's getting so popular is the home gym setup, and CrossFit's been great for that, for creating all these racks and cages and things that people can have at home. So that's been really big. Rogue makes a lot of those things, and there's a lot of great resources and things to get. Not to mention, you can also go on Craigslist and find a lot of weights. And weights don't disappear. They might get rusty, but you can clean them up. They might not be brand new or look pretty, but a weight is a weight. A 30 pound is going to be 30 pounds. It's not going to rust down to 10 pounds. A lot of people have weights and benches and things and pieces of equipment that they want to get rid of, that they have just like yard sales, or go on Craigslist and look up resistance weights or lifting or Gold's Gym or something. Gyms are closing down all the time. People are selling these things and they're getting rid of them. They're like, come pick it up, please. Just take it out of my garage. It's just rusting, taking up space, and you can get it for pennies on the dollar. So there's a lot of it. Depends on how picky you are or how much money you have to spend, but you can get a lot of these things at tag sales and flea markets. So just saying, you can get a lot of things on Craigslist and offer up that are great for lifting at home. Just a thought. So that also saves you a lot of time. It also saves you a lot of time. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to leave. You can keep an eye on your kids. You can get your kids involved. If they're around, they can watch you. It's good influence. And just walking downstairs into the basement or to the garage is a lot quicker than getting in the car and maybe driving half an hour to get to the gym. So if you live in the countryside, you don't have a gym accessible, it could be an option, something to think about. And the beauty about a barbell or dumbbells is that they're both very versatile. One of the upsides to using a barbell, and I'm going to equate this to a home gym or in a gym. This is going to blur the lines a little bit. Barbells take up more space. Barbell takes more space. You don't need as much equipment per se. You need a bar, but then you need plates that go on the end of it so you can adjust the weight. But you also need certain apparatuses in order to really get the full use out of a barbell. Sure, you can just have a bar, but it helps to have a bench or something that you can lay back on. You can do it on the ground too, but it'll limit the range of motion for a pressing movement. If you want to have a rack for a squat, otherwise you have to do like kind of like a clean and press it and lay it on your back. It depends on your shoulder mobility and your strength. So if you're at home with a barbell, it takes up a certain amount of room. You need some certain width and you need a couple different racking positions. It's ideal. That way you don't just have a bar and you're trying to makeshift or lift all these hundreds of pounds up onto your back. It's not safe. So a barbell is great and versatile, and you can do every body part. That's what I want to make it clear, is that a barbell and dumbbells, you can do every single body part with that. You don't need machines. You don't need machines. But you can be very versatile with a barbell, but I really do feel like you need some different racking positions. You need a bench if you want to make it most effective for chest with a rack position. You need a power rack where you can easily rack weights on the bar, so you could do a barbell squat. So you don't have to like do a clean and then put it on your back, and you can hurt yourself in your shoulder that way. It's dangerous. Or you don't have someone that can lift it onto your back. It's still dangerous and risky because then you don't want to drop it on the ground and put a hole in your floor potentially. you really do need a rack, but you can do most everything with a barbell. I see a lot of people posting about the Bowflex or those adjustable dumbbells. Those are great. A lot of times they go up to what, like 50 pounds, 55 pounds, and you slide it in the rack and you twist a knob. Those are great ways to save space. Get a lot of dumbbells in literally one stand because you can adjust the little dial and get and tweak how much weight you have on each dumbbell from like 5 pounds all the way up to 55. And then if you need more heavier weights, there's certain ones, I think power blocks and stuff that go heavier than that. So you can look those up. There might be $400 or $500 or so up front, but you can get a lot of dumbbells in one. So at the gym, you'll have a row of dumbbells, right? You have racks and racks. They go up from 5, 10, 15, 20, multiple kinds of each one. Takes up a huge amount of space. So if you're at the gym or you're at home, you can take up a lot less space by doing one of those adjustable weights. So the big difference, let's get more into the difference between the actual training of it. So that's just a little getting the waters warmed about home gyms and box gyms, where you can have different pieces of equipment. And that's just a little bit of insight into what might be better for you to do at home. But let's talk a little bit more about the actual physiological differences between barbells and dumbbells and why one may or may not be better than the other and why you should choose to do one over the other. Some thoughts and some reasonings, because most people, according to the numbers, preferred in general. It's funny, actually, now that I'm looking at the numbers again, that on Instagram, the percentage was 53% dumbbell, but for each individual exercise. Why is that, fam? Those that are watching on Instagram, it was 47% barbell, but then each breakdown that I asked about for each specific exercise, everyone said barbell. They preferred barbell bench. They preferred barbell row. They preferred barbell squat. So I'm not really sure if that number makes any sense. The idea of barbell and dumbbell sounds better. But anyway, that number being higher for dumbbell on Instagram is the same as Facebook. More people prefer dumbbell. I think because a lot of you work out at home, there's a lot more versatility potentially with dumbbells. So why would a dumbbell be better? Let's make the argument first why dumbbells are better. First off, you have what's known as neuromuscular efficiency and neuromuscular coordination. When you lift a weight, your body has to balance the weight. Your body has to control the weight. Your body has to control the weight through space. Thus, the reason why free weights are much better a choice most times than machines, because you have to stabilize the weight yourself. You can get greater range of motion. Machines aren't necessarily ideal for everyone. Some of them are very, very good, but you don't always have one that fits your movement and your joint length and everything ideally. So dumbbells can be very versatile. You can be controlling more weight at a time. They're smaller than a barbell, so the ability to move in different areas in different ways can be greater, similar to the effect of a kettlebell. Similar, not the same, similar. So dumbbells are smaller. You can do isolated one arm movements. You might see on Instagram or these fucking circus people that are trying to get views online doing exercise with a barbell with one hand. It's like, okay, that's really just more for attention than anything super functional. But you can do dumbbells easily with one hand. You can load one side of the body, activate a lot more core strength and core activation. You can do a lot of different methods. You can get different angles. You can get different mechanical angles for the chest, for rows. You can do every different angle. You can adjust your wrist position. You can adjust your shoulder position, adjust your elbow position. There are a lot of ways to work around injuries, work around pain, work around discomfort, customize the movement to you when you have dumbbells, because they move independently. So your body is doing a little bit more work. Your body is balancing two weights instead of one, and it allows for you to be a little more customizable with your motion, which can benefit injuries or discomfort and make your movements a little bit more customizable. So that's a plus. That's a plus. That's a plus in the dumbbell column. Also, when you're starting a weight training program, those of you that have recently started with weights or you remember what it was like when you started lifting weights, you get stronger before you build muscle. Does anyone remember that when you first started lifting, that you started gaining strength a lot quicker than building muscle? So float some hearts or drop a comment below if you remember when you first started lifting, that you got stronger before you started seeing muscle growth. And confirm that for me in the comments. Let me know if you remember those times. Because if you do remember that, you remember them accurately. Because what happens with the body neuromuscularly is you will gain strength, you'll gain neuromuscular coordination before your body will translate that over into actual muscle hypertrophy. So you will start getting stronger quicker. And that's a little bit of the illusion when people start training, is that you think it's muscle. You think you're building muscle because you're getting stronger from the beginning. And that's an illusion. It feels like you're getting bigger. You are getting stronger. You are getting stronger. And here's a knowledge nuke for you. Straight science. You are getting stronger technically, but you're not building anything. In fact, your muscles are not getting stronger based on themselves. You're not actually getting stronger. Your muscle fibers, your neuromuscular system are synchronizing better. So essentially, your muscles are getting more coordinated at firing and triggering contractions on each muscle fiber more simultaneously and in the right context. So you're not actually getting stronger or building muscle, you are just getting more coordinated. And that's the same thing as riding a bike. When you first start riding a bike, would you say when you learn how to ride a bike, you're falling over all the time, right? You're falling over, you're scraping your knees, and then all of a sudden you get it and you can ride perfectly. Would you say you got stronger? Would you say you got huge? Did you get more muscular? No, you got coordinated. You got balance. Your body learned how to contract certain muscles at the same time to make sure that you don't fall over. That's literally what happens with lifting weights. So you're not getting stronger per se, but you are building muscles in sense of developing muscles. You're building them in the sense of synchronizing their contraction. So it's neuromuscular efficiency, it's neuromuscular coordination. It's not actual muscle size. So that's a little bit of a distraction, and it tricks people because you think, hey, I started lifting and I was gaining all this muscle. Yeah, I gained muscle really quickly. You're getting inflamed. You're building strength. You're getting neuromuscular coordination. You're not building muscle. So there's this illusion of all this progress when you first start. Your body starts flushing out water, so people think they're losing all this fat. You're getting stronger, so people think they're building all this muscle. You're really just getting more coordinated and you're flushing out water. Or you're just retaining water because of the inflammation. So there's a lot of things that can happen when you first start lifting. People think they start swelling and get bigger and bigger. It's because you're not burning fat. You're either retaining water because you're inflamed, or your body is just building coordination. You're not building muscle. You're not just getting bigger. Everyone thinks they get big and they get huge because they start lifting a weight. Oh, I look at weights and I start getting big. I get so thick. I build too much muscle when I lift. No, you don't. I hate that fucking shit. Shut up, women, ladies. Guys don't say that as much because guys usually want to get huge. But women, I don't want to get big arms. Whenever I lift, I get big arms. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to stop eating Cheetos and get rid of the fat underneath the skin. You're fat. You're fat and you're not giving yourself enough time. You're not eating properly. You're still inflamed. You're not getting huge, as if women have this like special gene that just gets them huge really quickly. No, you're just more sensitive to gaining a millimeter than a guy is. You're just extremely sensitive, like any ounce or any illusion of size, like, oh my God, I'm getting fatter. Nothing's happening. You're fine. You're not getting bigger. The woman that just can't stop building muscle. That's why women got to lift weights. Women have to lift weights. But that's why we lift weights. That's why we lift weights. We lift weights so we break down living tissue, so we rebuild living tissue. That way your body will start feeding off the stored fat that you have on your system. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. So that's what we want to happen. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So that being said, dumbbells, you're controlling more weight. So you have the potential for improving strength from the sense of neuromuscular coordination more from dumbbells because you're balancing two weights. Because you're balancing two weights, there's more stimulation, and thus you would think, okay, if I'm doing more work, if I'm balancing two weights instead of one, I'm doing more work, it's going to be more challenging. I'll build more muscle doing dumbbells. I should always do dumbbells. Well, that might be true. However, there is something to be said about how a barbell works. So, for example, if you're doing the same exercise, let's say dumbbell bench versus barbell bench. Barbell bench, yes, it's true. You are pushing less objects. You don't have two dumbbells, you have one barbell. The benefits of a barbell, the benefits of pushing one thing as opposed to two, is that you can focus on the impact, the force, the strength. You can focus on that motor unit synchronization a lot more focused, because everything is working to push one object. So you can summon a lot of core strength. You can summon a lot of explosive strength. You can summon a lot of absolute strength, because essentially your brain and your motor units and your body, your function, just your motor function is focused on doing less things. You're pushing one bar. It's easier. Now, here's what I want to make clear. It's easier to balance a bar than it is two dumbbells. If you do dumbbells a lot, it's going to seem really easy to you as well. It's just because you're coordinated and you're used to the balance. If you don't do barbell ever, when you grab a bar, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird because you're not used to it. But if you do both evenly, right? If you do both the same quantity, and you can drop your comments below, if you do both of them evenly, you'll notice that it's easier to balance one bar. You're holding a bar. It's easier to control. It's easier to control. I'm not talking about which is more comfortable. I'm not talking about which one you're stronger with. I'm not talking about which one you prefer. I'm talking about it's easier to balance one weight than it is, or one bar than it is two individual dumbbells. There's that aspect of it too. So for absolute strength, that's why when you do bench press, 1 rep max testing, or bench press competitions, powerlifting, they don't do it with dumbbells. They do it with barbells, because a bar is easier to measure with form and like starting point, ending point. Range of motion is neutralized. They can see the start to finish. It's easier to spot. It's easier to spot a barbell. That's another thing. If you are in a powerlifting competition or you're lifting with a friend, it's much more challenging to spot dumbbells than it is a bar. And at the same time, it's also safer to lift with dumbbells if you don't have a spotter. And I want to make this point a little bit. This kind of segues into that next point there when I was talking about spotting, that with a barbell, if you don't get the lift, for example, for a bench, you're screwed. Like, you're trapped under the bar. And if you're lifting enough weight, you only have one spotter, that's still going to leave you at risk, because chances are that one person is not going to catch the bar in time and may not be able to lift it off your chest. You've all seen these gym fails where people don't know how to spot. Spotting is an art. Spotting is an art form. To understand how to spot properly and how to sufficiently have enough strength at the bar or during your exercise to support you, it's very, very challenging. A lot of people don't understand how that works, or how to properly have spotters for an exercise. Benching 315, having one spotter is not enough. It's nowhere near enough. There's no way that person's lifting that bar off your chest. You're still screwed. So it's a psychological thing. But if you're lifting alone, right? If you're lifting alone at the gym, or you're lifting alone at home, it's much safer to be under dumbbells, because you can literally drop them on the ground. If one of your wrists gives out, you could just drop the weights. You could drop them off to the side. Now, it doesn't mean that you should be one of those assholes dropping weights at the gym, but if you're at home, you are much safer doing dumbbells, because if you have pillows or cushions on the side, or you have the ability to drop the weights, and you don't have like your child running around, which you shouldn't anyway, you can avoid injury. Yeah, you might break the weight or dent something, but you don't break your face or tear your muscle apart. That's the most important thing. So it's safer to train with dumbbells, especially at home, because you have that range of motion, because you have that ability to eject and to kind of punch out from that exercise if you're in a pinch. So dumbbells are safer at home. They do allow for a different range of motion. You can get around those discomforts. Let's talk about the discomforts that you can avoid with a dumbbell. With a bar, it's a fixed position. So the benefits of a bar and pushing one object make it one object nevertheless. It's a flat bar. It's a straight bar. You have to grab it with your hands a certain way. Your elbows have to be in a certain position. Everything has to be aligned a certain way, because the bar requires it. Now, if you have dumbbells, you can tweak them. You can supinate a little bit. You can pronate. You can drop the elbows in. You can keep the elbows up. You can change the angle. You can customize how you use a dumbbell completely. You can even use a dumbbell with two hands. You can use one dumbbell and grab it with two hands. So you can even manipulate a dumbbell and make it like a unique structure. And of course, you could use a barbell. You could put it on the end and you could do shoulder pressing. And there's different exercises and different things you could do with the barbell as well. But of course, if you pick a barbell up vertically, you're going to have space issues and you might hit your basement ceiling or you might hit a fan or who knows. But if you have a barbell, you have limited space. You have those space concerns. So this goes back to either being in a gym or being at home. You're still going to have limited space when you pick a barbell up because you have other human beings walking around at a gym or at home. You might have a ceiling that gets in the way. So dumbbells can have a little bit more maneuverability. They're smaller. You can use one dumbbell. You can use both dumbbells and you can customize them. So if you have any kind of wrist issues, and drop a comment below if you have any wrist issues that you use dumbbells for. Are there any specific, those that are watching live, are there any specific exercise that you opt for either dumbbells or barbells because of an injury, because of tendonitis, because of wrist pain, because of shoulder pain or elbow pain? You might not do barbell curls because the barbell bothers your elbow or it bothers your wrist, or you don't do barbell bench because it bothers your shoulder. What is the reason for you to choose one over the other? Because I'm sure that someone watching right now has one of those issues, which is normal. We each have our own path and our own journey, and we all go through our lives differently. And it's very common to have a lingering injury, whether it's from football, from high school or college, or track practice, like you pulled your hamstring or you broke your wrist in a car accident or playing catch. There's always those injuries that linger, that affect our bone structure, that affect the angle, that compress a nerve. We all have those things that get in the way, so to speak. So dumbbells can be very great for avoiding those kinds of discomforts. Okay, I'm going to go through and take a couple questions in a moment, but the barbell dumbbell debate really isn't a debate. There are a lot of exercises that are better, that you might find better with dumbbell, and there are exercises you might find better with barbell. What I do encourage all of you is to try both and to experiment with both. Don't only do dumbbell and don't only do barbell, because there's a lot of benefits and strength benefits and size benefits that you can get from focusing on just a bar and focusing on some and actually exposing your body to the restrictions of a barbell or the force production capacity of a barbell and the arc and the mechanical movement of a barbell as opposed to a dumbbell. For example, if you're only doing dumbbell squats, man, you got to overload your spine some more. You know, do some barbell squats or do some front squats, or at least hold a dumbbell to the front and do, cradle squats or shallot squats, however you want to call that, where you hold the dumbbell or kettlebell in the front rack position. So those are great ways to get some great range of motion, change the force, change the angle, change the biomechanics of the squat, take some pressure off the back. There's a lot of different options. And there are a lot of new pieces of equipment that come out all the time, and machines are getting better. The angles are getting better. Every time I use some of these new age machines, a lot of times the angle is just getting better, or it'll hit the muscles in a different way that you can't get with a free weight because you'll either fall over or you won't be able to isolate it that much. But sometimes machines can be very, 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 very effective at hitting muscles in certain ways that you can't do with free weights, whether it has you leaning back more than you normally could in free gravity, or it'll add pressure at a certain point in the motion that doesn't exist in nature, that you can't actually do unless someone's pulling on the weight for you. So there are some benefits to some of these machines, but that's really only for advanced trainers and people that really understand their human physiology and kinesiology and what's safest under load and how to manipulate and how to really isolate certain these body parts, because a lot of people are doing things wrong on machines that have not the faintest idea of how the body is balanced and the faintest idea of what is optimal and the faintest idea of what they're trying to target because they don't know what they're doing. So it's okay sometimes when you see someone doing a machine differently or backwards or seemingly wrong, because if you understand kinesiology, there really is no wrong way to move. That's a big misconception with movement, that we understand everything so well. We're science, we understand how the human body is supposed to move. It does this. This is good form. This is wrong. This is wrong. Any way the human body can move there's nothing wrong with it. Any way the human body can move is correct. It's just movement. We're learning stuff all the time. Now, there could be more instances of injury and things that could risk an injury, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to do. It doesn't mean that it's a wrong movement. So just make sure that you're doing your training. When you're training, you're doing things for the right reasons. You have your goals and you're trying to do the exercises required to help you get to those goals quicker. So don't just do things to do things. Oh, I saw this. Let me try this exercise. Always have it in context. The context of your training program and the reason why you're doing an exercise is always extremely important. And you're all going to see that more of that too in the next. I hope Swolenormous X members, I hope you enjoyed the latest virtual training, the lunge workout that I did in Swolenormous X, where you can train with me. So I hope you all have tried that, or you will this weekend if you haven't gotten a chance to do that one yet. New workshop dropped yesterday in Swolenormous X, as well as the latest yoga class. So more stuff coming this week. Another yoga class coming this weekend, tomorrow, Monday, that time frame, as well as a brand new virtual training and some additional instructional videos. A lot more content dropping in X, so very excited about that. So if you're interested in joining the family with all the programs and weekly workshops, yoga classes, and all this information that you're getting every day applied directly to your training, that is swolenormousx.com. So the link is in my bio on Instagram and also the post description here on Facebook. So let's take a couple questions. Darthaz 18. Dumbbells for everything shoulder, 2 slightly torn rotator cuffs. Super common to have shoulder problems, and dumbbells are great for that. Shoulder issues, why I prefer dumbbells. So we got 2 people for that. I've broken both my arms. I'm trying to turn my arms to get used to a barbell is hard. It might not be right for you. You might not be able to ever use a barbell comfortably, so don't force yourself. But that's the beauty of having dumbbells. You can still get this shit done. You just might not be cut out for a barbell. But they also have different types of barbells. You've seen the easy curl bars that are bent, that are zigzagged, and that's for wrist position, for triceps or for curls. There's also different bars with different grip positions. So there's different bars, quote unquote, that are fixed in position that have different grips. They're not always just straight. For most of this conversation, we're talking about just like the literal straight barbell, but you have the hex bar for deadlifts. You also have those D bars. That's like a oval with the straight bars in between for triceps and for curls, for hammer curls. So there's different structures of these bars. They're making new shaped bars all the time. So if you have the ability to check some of these different types out, do so, because you might be able to find one that you like better. Eric Dean, Josh, I don't have a spa there either, but I set up safeties. The problem with the Smith machine, I guess we've got a Smith machine conversation going on in the comments. The problem with the Smith machine is the weird angles, locks in joints, and as a weighted bar. They're fine and have Smith machines are weird. I agree with that. It's hard to find one that's really good. What's great is at the gym that I train at and some of you might have seen this already. Actually, I used it in that row when I was talking about the back tits, when I was doing that row exercise video. It's a 3D Smith where the bar tracks, but it moves in space wherever you want it to. So it doesn't go side to side, but it goes front to back in a circle. It's like a free moving Smith press, which I like better. You can't do everything you can do in a Smith press because a Smith press is on a track only, and you can lean back into it more. So in a Smith press, you can get a different angle. You can lean back into the weight a little bit more and customize a little bit. On the 3D, you can't necessarily lean back, but you have safeties and you have the ability to get different angles and than just a free bar. So there could be some benefits actually that I've done in the past, but there are very specific things I use a Smith for. I don't use it often and I don't use it regularly. I don't bias my workout. Some people do all their stuff on a Smith. I'm not a fan of that. Catherine Walls on Facebook. I've bad elbows, but I've always manned up and I do both forearm training and hammer curls to reduce pain. I'm assuming you mean with dumbbells if you have bad elbows. Tyler Russell, I feel like dumbbells allow me to isolate the muscle I'm targeting better. Barbell is usually what I prefer when I'm going for strength and power. Justin Cooper, barbell bench bothers my shoulders, slowly building and strengthening so I can bench more, don't want to overdo it. That's very common. Whenever you have shoulder pain or issues with a barbell, a lot of times your scapula could be getting locked against the bench. I would always recommend if you have shoulder issues when you're doing a flat bench, you could try doing it on a ball A ball could be a possibility. And also when you're doing the bench, dropping your elbows a little bit closer towards your ribs. Don't go super 90 degrees because you can get some impingement and some restriction in the shoulder capsule, in the shoulder joint. What do you do for safety? This is my favorite of your podcast. Well, great. Great. You know, the podcast will get better every day. And as long as you all turn out live and we have good topics and good conversation and we get the points across, I've been getting a lot of feedback of the positivity of the longer podcasts, of the longer episodes. And I think most of you are enjoying this. This gives people more of a chance to dip in, to drop in and catch it later or earlier during the show. And also, I've gotten a bunch of messages that you all really, really, really love, even listening. And I appreciate all the feedback. I think a lot of you underestimate how important it is when you send me a message and give me some feedback, what you like or don't like, because I take that. That's the reason why I ask a lot of times. If there's something that you all like a lot, I'll do more of it. I'll try to bias things towards that if there's a huge support for it. So got great feedback on the longer episodes, which is great because a lot less hectic. We can go over more topics, more things in more depth and have more conversation about it. But a lot of you were mentioning that the questions and the Q&A at the end is amazing because the questions that I'm answering that other people are asking are questions that you're thinking like, wow, that's interesting. I wish I didn't think to ask that. And that's very important when someone asks a question that you find interesting, because we're all sitting there as individuals. And when we have hundreds of people watching and listening all the time, getting questions from individuals can easily, and I love listening to Q&As on podcasts. I think that's great because someone always asks something in a way that you didn't think to ask or got their question in when you didn't get your question answered, but it could be the same one that you had. And you're like, oh, I'll let someone else ask that. So definitely, if you have positive feedback, any kind of feedback, DM me on Facebook. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I get so many messages, fam. So when you send me messages, I'll get to them as soon as I can. I try to answer every single one. So if I miss it or I don't get to it quickly, it's just because I'm getting hundreds a day. So I do my best to answer as many as I can. Facebook just closed out on me. Well, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. Facebook just crashed. I hope that saves. So we're still live on Instagram. I was just having this conversation. So yeah, let me, well, that's ironic. A lot of people are probably still watching that live cast. So let me pop back up live again on here. Party foul, just so no one thinks that I just ripped and dipped. We'll take a couple more questions, but I'll wrap it up. If you have any more questions on Instagram, we'll keep it going for a moment. Oh, that was weird. Okay, it happens, but that's why we're recording. So those of you that are watching this little segment, this little second boost, Facebook just crashed on me. So we're just continuing. So if anyone wants to show up and you're showing up to this little part 2 of the live, why were there 2 lives today? It's because it shut down and the app crashed. So I'm not sure why it crashed, but I think the other one might still be running. People might still be in that live cast. Okay, let's take a couple more questions and we'll wrap this up for episode 631. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's Juan. I'm in the Marine Corps and I have my PFT run, which is 3 miles in less than like 26 minutes. That's cake. Should I stop lifting and start doing more cardio to improve? If you need to improve, yeah. What's your real question, dude? Like, if you are not good at running that distance and that time, then yeah, you should focus more on doing cardio. Sure. You could also keep lifting, but just cut your rest times down. Drop the weights a little bit and cut the rest periods down. So you're doing more of like endurance style training. But if you can't run 3 miles in under 26 minutes, then you need to start practicing running. I'm not a big fan of running, but the military loves that shit. I mean, it's functional. If you're in the military, you got to be able to run. The conditioning is different. The goals are different. So that being the case, if you ain't good at running, bro, you got to run, Forrest. Run. Run, Forrest. Run. LOL, I was wondering what happened. Yeah, it's weird. Like, Facebook will be fine running it straight for 40 minutes, but then all of a sudden, it's like 42 minutes. Like, no. Bomb. Crash. Who knows? but that's why I'm always recording in audio. The audio is seamless. The YouTube is seamless. Everyone's here. Yeah, let's get some feedback before we rip and dip. It's Saturday, so having a little more discussion. Alex Spangler, love the longer podcasts and videos. I listen to them while I meal prep and drive, like right now. Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I really do think that the longer episodes are great. It's like, why have a 10-minute episode when those of you out there really like to have more discussion and want to have more of the gain train. And I think about that myself whenever I enjoy something. If I enjoy a movie or a show or a podcast, I don't want it to end. I get pissed off when there's certain podcasts I listen to that for like 2.5 hours when I'm doing things. And when it ends, I get pissed off. I'm like, shit, there's only 5 minutes left. So if it's good content, you guys are enjoying it, then we'll do it. So definitely glad that you're all enjoying the longer style. We still cover a ton of information, get a lot more questions in, and have a lot more volume and discussion about the topics that we can get into. And it's going to get more and more effective and more applicable when I bring guests on the show, when I have guests on the show, and also talk about some of these more scientific studies that will require a little bit more discussion and debate. So the debate aspect is also great, that you can come in here and voice your opinion and we can have an actual open discussion live, which is going to be great. Robert Villarreal, can I get better results with weights than with body weight exercise? Depends on what you mean by results. You can definitely build more muscle than with body weight, for sure. Josh, thanks for the comment on the Smith machine. Going to do more research on a good cage. Were you looking, Josh, to get a Smith? Were you looking to get one for the house? If you're getting something for the house, I would look up Rogue, because Rogue has a lot of good foldable or personal single cage setups that are affordable. So a free weight cage is going to be better. It'll be better for you in the long run because you could do pull-ups on it. You could do squats and deadlifts. You could do bench. I would not get a Smith for at home, but you do have to be careful. The reason why you get a good cage is for this reason, Josh, because if you're at home, you need to be careful with not getting pinned under a bar and killing yourself. So if you're doing, let's say, bench press and you have a cage, you can put the supports just above your chest, like just above your chest. So you might rack it off the bar, off the cage, and then be repping, and you'll just hit the metal just before your chest. So if you can't get it up for whatever reason, boom, you could drop it on the metal. You're not dropping it on your chest. So you might not have a spotter at home, but if you have a cage that can protect you, you can essentially go to failure. And if you can't get it up, you just drop it on the bars, the racks, like the supports, and then you get out from underneath it and you unrack the weight. So it keeps you safe. Robert, that's what I meant. Sorry, on a road trip. No worries. No worries. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see here. Love the 90 double D with the dumbbells. Hell yeah, Vince. The 90-day dash is designed for dumbbells. That's a great program for dumbbells. How does Alex meal prep while driving? How does Alex? Oh, someone's meal prepping while I'm driving. Sorry, I'm driving while meal prepping. Let's see. Just do hip hop abs. Oh, shut it, Mike. Longer podcasts are better. More knowledge nukes. Hell yeah. You're welcome, Josh. Good questions. All right, fam. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining for the longer podcast. Still sick, starting 90 DD again next week. Well, even if you get sick and you have to like take a pause for a moment, just get back on the train. You don't necessarily have to start from scratch every time, but definitely progress quickly. And there's going to be a lot more what you're going to see from those virtual trainings and from those workouts. Those are great workouts that you can use in the 90-day dash. So those of you that are trying those virtual trainings, there will be some additional worksheets that I'm adding to that. And there will be a lot more content always every week that you can use for the 90-day dash scheduling and for that program design schedule. So all these things, everything that we're adding to Swolenormous X is applicable in the 90-day dash. While the virtual trainings are great for the Swole phase, there'll be additional workouts for Ignite coming. There's a lot of stuff coming. It's just a matter of time. So I'm always working behind the scenes on getting more content out for all of you. And today and tomorrow, all day is going to be spent on doing just that. So I'm going to get to that. Love you guys. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you for joining me for episode 641 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, and Gaincast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose. I'll see everyone tomorrow for 632 of the Daily Sleaze. Stay tuned on Snapchat and Instagram stories. So I will post ASAP as soon as the podcast goes live, so you can catch all the parts that you might have missed. And of course, the HD video will be up on YouTube and Facebook later today. So I'll catch you around the flip side on the gram and on the FB. And I'll see everyone else in Swolenormous X for all the new workouts, workshops, and yoga classes. Peace out. Have a great Saturday.